and raised in a gritty working-class town in Austria. At age 18, he dreamed of becoming a great artist and applied for admission to the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna, where his paintings were declared mediocre and his application was rejected. Bitter and angry, his dreams shattered, he eventually found a new career in politics. 26 years after being rejected from art school, Adolf Hitler had become one of the most powerful men in the world. And he wanted revenge on the art world that had rejected him. In 1938, Benito Mussolini invited him to visit Florence, a visit that ignited a crazy dream. Hitler decided to build an enormous museum in Linz, Austria, his hometown, and surround it with 22 miles of galleries, an opera house, libraries, and his own mausoleum, all scheduled for completion by 1950, when Linz would become the Florence of a new Nazi Europe.
He wanted to create a sort of Nazi version of it, a city dedicated to art, and his plan was to fill it up with Nazi art, with fascist art, which he would hang alongside some of the most stunning art that the world had ever seen.
In the years leading up to World War II, Hitler sent German art scholars abroad to secretly catalogue other countries' art collections, so he'd know exactly where to steal what he wanted when his armies conquered Europe. And in Austria and Germany, he confiscated Jewish art collections for his future mega museum, which was to be the greatest art museum in the world.
I think certainly we need to explore, we need to research this lust for stolen art that Hitler had.
During their 12 years in power, the Nazis stole an estimated 650,000 works of art from museums and private collectors. Hitler would have needed an industrial-sized operation to pull that off. And that's exactly what he had. A dedicated task force to vacuum up treasures around Europe. Whoa, this guy looks serious. His name was Alfred Rosenberg, and in 1940, Hitler gave him the job of purifying German art and culture, and authorized him to seize masterpieces from conquered parts of Europe. Hundreds of people worked for Rosenberg. A unit that big could take whatever it wanted. It was looting, Nazi style. They carefully cataloged everything. They sent Hitler photos of what they'd stolen, and he reveled in the masterpieces destined for his museum. And if you think that's bad, what happened to art Hitler didn't like was much worse. It was cultural, ethnic cleansing.
Hitler was determined to destroy all art he considered degenerate. He even organized an exhibition in 1937 designed to show these works in a humiliating way. He ordered German museums to cleanse their collections. In 1939, the Nazis burned nearly 5,000 works of art they didn't like. When they captured Paris, they destroyed even more. Among them, works by Picasso, Dali, Miro, and Klee. Some of the greatest modern art ever produced wiped from the face of the earth. It was an irreplaceable loss to the world and a cultural atrocity.
So Giovanni Poggi turned out to be the superintendent of galleries and monuments in Florence. He knew this storm of war was approaching and he'd have to do something. So as early as 1941, he started scouting out all around the countryside, trying to find places where he could store the art. Castles, monasteries, forts, palaces. By 42, the Italians knew it was all going wrong for them. So between 42 and 43, with everything prepared, they started moving everything out. There were 100 art depositories all around Italy.
I mean, that's a ballsy move. You got to think that if they were caught, people would have questioned their motivations, questioned their loyalty, maybe thought they were stealing things. It's definitely a risk.
Thanks to Giovanni Poggi, the paintings were hidden at Montegaffoni. But Montegaffoni was unguarded, and every week the war was getting closer. Armed, battle-hardened men were roaming the countryside. They could easily have destroyed or stolen Montegaffoni's art. Why didn't that happen?
Who was protecting the paintings at the castle?
Well, I found a website which might help, actually. Yeah, here we are, this guy here. So, born and raised in Montegaffoni.
Andrea Pestelli. He must know something. We need to talk to him.